Hi, welcome back to the Sacred Connection Healing Room. My name is Cindy, and I want to invite you in to enjoy some of the fun stories that I have to tell, and also to have a community of people who are ready to heal from the inside out. A couple of disclaimers. One, I am not a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a licensed therapist. I am, however, a life coach, and life coaches tend to help people along the path to create a better future. All of my videos are inspired by a lifetime of therapy, observations, and my own opinions. I'm sure plenty of people have laughed about the craziness on my head. It's just kind of fun for me sometimes to do it like that. I do have crazy hair, and you'll probably see it lots of different ways because sometimes it's curly, sometimes it's straight, and most of the time, if I brush it out, I look a lot like Rosanna Dana, which is kind of what was going on today. Nothing was going to fix this mess, so up on top of the head it went. Today you might notice that I have a bandage on my finger, and this is just a small portion of what happened over Thanksgiving. So I mentioned in my last video that my sister and her son were coming to visit, and we had a great time. We really did. However, we did suffer several stressful situations. Everybody was okay the day that they arrived, but the next day my daughter came down with the flu. And then my son started having a really bad toothache and found out that he had an infection. I had to go the day before Thanksgiving and get a procedure done on my back. Now, I did not realize that I had that scheduled the day before Thanksgiving. I'm not too sure exactly what happened in my brain there. But I had to have that done. And when they do that, sometimes my legs are a little wobbly. So my sister brought me there. We decided to go get something to eat so that that weird wobbly feeling in my legs would kind of go away before we had to do anything else that day. And I managed to fall in the parking lot, getting out of the car with a cane, and my sister trying to help me not fall. It was not a very pretty sight, I'm imagining. So that left me a little bit bruised, my back a little bit sore, and then later that night I was preparing our turkey. And what I do normally with our turkey is I spatchcock the turkey, and I know that that sounds weird. Spatchcocking is basically just cutting the backbone out of the turkey and then laying it flat and breaking those ribs. So when you do that, it takes hours off of your bake time, and it also helps to maintain the moist turkey breast. I know everybody hates that word, but we were talking about turkey breast all the last video, and this is one of the ways that I make it so that the turkey breast is still very tender and juicy instead of dried out like a lot of baked turkeys end up. My sister and I also did a lot of shopping. We did a lot of cooking. We did all of these things. And I was tired, and she was tired, and there was just so much going on. So I go in to take care of the turkey to do the spatchcocking, and basically I use like 3 different tools to do it: a very sharp knife, some kitchen shears to cut through the bones, the smaller bones, and then a cleaver to definitely cut through a couple of the bigger bones there. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking to myself, I need to move this hand out of the way just in case something happens. And right at that moment, something happened, and the cleaver caught the side of my finger, and I took about that much of the skin. Just, it didn't come completely off. It just like filleted it. So yes, that's why my finger is in a bandage. We decided after a trip to an urgent care center and getting all of this taken care of that we were going to wait one more day. So our Thanksgiving actually happened on Friday instead of Thursday. By Friday, Rain was feeling better. That's my daughter. My son was also feeling better. And that gave us time to get other things done that we were feeling a little rushed to do, to have done by Thursday. Some of you might be wondering, what do lobsters have to do with the holidays? And I'm going to explain that to you, but not right away. That is coming, I promise. First, I want to talk a little bit about what is it that happens as soon as the turkey is carved and our bellies are full and the leftovers are put in the fridge. We clean off the table. We have what is very, very well known in America as Black Friday. So thinking about that, that's what made me really think about which topic I wanted to cover first, now that the Christmas season is officially upon us. This time of year is incredible, but it's also stressful. And I kind of wanted to touch on some of the stressful things that we are faced with during this time of year, and what are some of the ways that we can undo some of that stress? How can we alleviate a little bit of it? So that's kind of what our message is today, and lobsters do factor in, I promise. The first thing that I want to address is that every single thing in nature has to deal with stress in their environment. For the majority of them, it is really the stresses of making sure that they have enough food, the stress of making sure that their young survive, that they are not eaten by predators, and that they can continue to procreate. You know, humans are a little bit different than that, but like that's not enough stress as it is. But humans are different because unlike any other species that we have on Earth, we acquire things, stuff. But we also focus this time of year on more stuff, gift giving. That can be stressful. Very, very, very stressful. Other than the gift giving, we are also inundated with the stress of creating the perfect holiday. We put ourselves through torture to try to make these perfect storybook, Hallmark movie endings in our lives, whether it's romance or not. The problem with that is life isn't that. Life is not a fairy tale. And this time of year is especially stressful when it comes to that. It comes to romance. If we don't have somebody, it's like finding somebody. If we do have somebody and we're not getting along, then it's changing it to make it a perfect relationship. If we have estranged family members, it's the whole, oh gosh, everything is forgiven, let's all be together and happy, and anything and everything that was in the past is left in the past. That's all fine and good. It really is. And that's a lot of things that we strive for. But that's not real life most of the time. Regardless of whether you're trying to create the ideal, and one of the things that I say is ideal isn't real. So even if we're striving toward a more ideal situation during the holidays, a lot of happiness and joy and love and togetherness, perfect presents and the parties and the food and all of that, we have to pay attention to the fact that just trying to make things ideal can cause a lot of stress. It takes extra time to do extra things. You're adding things to your calendar that you normally don't have. And that's not just planning for parties to go to. That's also, I've got to do a lot of shopping. I have to do a lot of cooking. I have to do a bunch of Christmas cards, which is a lost art, and I'm going to try to be better about that this year. It's this crazy, hyper pace, like I said before, Hallmark movie syndrome. And when we put that much extra stress on us, and a lot of us already deal with a daily normal stress, what can happen is this ideal that we're striving for can fall apart. And that especially is not what we're looking for, what we want to have happen during this time of year. So when we are surrounded by all of this makeshift joy, togetherness, love, families, all of that, we're also reminded at the holidays that we don't have the money necessarily that we want to be able to do things. Maybe we're not on the best terms with our family members. Maybe I am miserable in a relationship or lonely because I don't have one. Sometimes our friends are so busy that they don't necessarily see the people who are feeling down and even more stressed. As this starts to happen in my world, one of the things that I try to do is to find something funny about all of it. Okay? I choose to try to get through any situation with a smile on my face. And a lot of the people that I know also do the same. You're probably wondering, why on earth did I bring lobsters into this Christmassy, the beginning of the holidays video? And it wasn't too long ago that someone told me that lobsters do a very interesting things when they feel stressed. And to them, stress is when their shell becomes uncomfortable and they need to get rid of that shell because the shell doesn't grow with them. They keep one shell. And then when they start to feel like it's too small, they will shed that shell and grow into another one. So when this happens, lobsters go and find these like rocky shelves in the ocean, and they will hang out there. They'll find a little safe place on this rocky area that they go to that keeps them safe from predators coming and getting them while they are vulnerable. And once they find this place, then they are able to shed the thing that is stressing them, so their outer shell. And then they stay there until their new shell is grown. They have a more comfortable atmosphere. They feel better. They heal. Then they go back out into the big bad world. And then when they have another growth spurt, they're going to do this over and over and over again. So like I said in the very beginning of the video, nature has a way of giving stressful situations to anything and everything that is alive, but it also gives us examples so that we can see how nature resolves stressful situations. Doing things like the lobsters do is smart. First of all, the first thing they do is they recognize that something's wrong and they're uncomfortable. So instead of freaking out about it, instead of lashing out at others, they go and they find a place that is a safe place for them so that they are comfortable and they're able to get rid of the thing that is stressing them the most, which is a shell that is too small. And they feel safe enough there that they will stay until they've healed, until this new shell has grown back. That speaks volumes to me, and I would like to think that it does to a lot of other people. This information that was given to me really made me stop and think about, especially the holidays. And we put ourselves in very stressful situations with the decorating and the extracurricular activities and the gift giving and all these traditions and being around so many people. How can we act like a lobster? How can we, when this time of year comes along and causes us all this extra stress, how can we deal with that without falling apart? I want to be like a lobster. I want to know that I'm in a safe place so that I can get rid of the things. I can deal with the things that are causing me a lot of stress. And then not come back out of this safe place until I know everything is going to be okay. How can we as humans do this? More of what we can learn from the lobsters, I think, during this time of year is the fact that they do not allow stress to bog them down. When they begin to feel the stress, this growing pain happening, they do something about it. They don't just sit there and complain about it. They actually go and take care of it, as do the majority of species in this world. And again, humans are really different from any other species that exists here. We do things that give us even more stress. We want to make things super complicated. Any time that we are under a lot of stress, our immune system takes a hit. And that means it's harder for it to protect us against things that either we create ourselves, like high blood pressure and depression and anxiety. Women hold their breath a lot, especially if they're tense, especially if they're in a stressful situation. So when women hold their breath, most of the time they don't even realize it, but you're causing damage. So it can also manifest in ways like you can't sleep, or maybe you sleep too much. You can't focus on things because you're thinking about whatever this stressful situation is. I think that today's world relies on the stresses that we put on each other because there's money to be made. We tend to not recognize that stress, once it really starts to affect our mood, our health, and our well-being, creates a ripple effect. And I would like to be more like a lobster. If we did that, a lot of the pharmaceutical companies would probably go down the drain. I hope that people will stop and recognize the stress and do something about it. And we talked a little bit about that, that joy, giving somebody just a little bubble of joy, kindness, gratitude, all of that. If that creates a little bubble of joy for you, then you in turn can give that to someone else. So whether it's a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or holding a door open for someone, that's a great way to start relieving the stress that you're under by opening your eyes and realizing that everybody else is under a lot of stress too. It's not easy to do. That one's definitely not easy to do. What I want to do is put out a challenge for this week. Now, again, these are challenges. If you want to do them, great. It's okay to not want to do it. It's okay if you only want to do it for a week or a couple of days. That's fine. The challenges are just here to help us grow and become better people. But if it's not something you're interested in doing, that's okay. I just hope that people will start doing some of these. The first part of the challenge is for yourself. Whenever you start to feel yourself stressed, it's important then to stop and find a way to relax. We start noticing lines on our forehead and notice like frown lines around here. So we start to notice that some of these lines that are definitely getting a little bit more pronounced on our faces are caused because our resting face is tense. Learning how to relax that is just, it's a gift, really, to yourself. So the first thing that you have to do in this challenge is to recognize, okay, so, hey, I'm stressed out. How do I relax? You're going to close your eyes and you're going to breathe in, and you're going to breathe in a lot. And the point is to fill the entire lung with air. This is sometimes not super comfortable at first because we hold our breath a lot and we breathe very shallow. So what you do first, you close your eyes and you breathe in, and you breathe into a count of 4. And then you breathe out. Now you breathe in through your nose, then you breathe out through your mouth again at a count of 4. By the time you're done breathing out, you are getting as much of the air out of your lungs as possible. So you're filling up your lungs like balloons, not your belly, your lungs. And then you're going to push all of the air back out. I used to envision it as in like, okay, so I am bringing in sunshine and light into a dusty old room. And what I was breathing out was all the cobwebs and the dust and anything dark or negative. So here's an example. So you would just like breathe in. So you breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, out. Just like that. What happens when we do that? Well, what happens is we start getting a lot more oxygen in our bloodstream. Pain, exhaustion, stress, all of these are signs and symptoms of us not having enough oxygen. So doing that, we're going to do that. And I just want you to imagine you're just getting rid of those cobwebs, getting rid of that dust. Definitely sit down while you're doing this, because you will also get very lightheaded with all of that oxygen flooding your bloodstream. So definitely, little disclaimer here, be sitting while you do this. Then what I want you to do is I want you to focus on your feet. And I want you to, on the breath in, clench your muscles. And on your breath out, stretch. In, out. You're going to do this with your feet. Okay? I want you to do 3 breaths for each. So for your feet, you're going to curl your toes and you're going to tense them, trying to make like a fist with your feet. Okay? So you're going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4. You're going to hold it. And then when you breathe out, you're going to stretch. You don't just release it. Stretch it. Okay? This is going to start to release a lot of toxins in your body. This is also what I used to call a self-massage. So you do it 3 times with your feet, and then you do it with your calves. You tense up your calves, and I want you to focus. Keep your eyes closed, and you focus on those muscles, and you tense them up on the breath in, and you release them on the breath out. And you do that 3 times. Then you do your thighs, and then you do your groin area. Okay, you're going to be pulling in your pelvic muscles. Then you do it to your abdomen, and you're going to pull in all of those different muscles that you can. Okay, very tense. And remember, we are breathing to fill up our lungs, not our stomach. So we should be able to tense the stomach muscles without changing too much of the way the air comes in and out. Then you do it through the chest muscles. Then you do it with the neck muscles, the head and neck. And you just keep going. And you're just going to take it all the way out. And you've got your fist. Okay? Now, I typically will do the neck muscles and then do the upper arm, lower arm, and then hands. And then I'll go back up to the neck. And I might do that another 2 or 3 times because that's where we do carry a lot of our stress. And then I'm going to move into my head area. And there's not a lot that you could do for the back of your head. But the final one is definitely going to make you look silly when you do it. But you will contract all those muscles in your face. So it's like making a sour face. Like that. And then release it. You're going to notice a huge difference after doing this one time. This one thing will help you. And it doesn't take but 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You can do it while one of your favorite shows is on and you're watching it on TV. You could do it while you're listening to music. The next thing that I hope people will want to do is spread that smile. Take that sensation that you feel after you've relaxed your muscles and relaxed your mind and put it into a smile and a kind gesture. Open the door. Offer to help carry their bag. Whatever it is that you need to do. So if we learn to just kind of let some of that stuff go and instead spread the smiles, spread the joy. When we begin to look at life as a series of events that happen along our journey to get us to our final destination. You wake up every morning and you get to choose who you are and what kind of a mood you're going to be in. You can't choose what life throws at you, but you can choose how you react to it. This is my hope for anyone who has been watching any of these videos, and hopefully any of the new people that come along that are going to start watching these videos, that you will stop, unload your stress, and bring joy to other people. Just tiny, tiny little acts of kindness. Thank you again for everyone's support. And I ask, please, if you can, comment below on some of the things that you've learned. Ease your stress, whether it's something that you do or somebody else does. I'm asking that people begin to share your lives with me. This is an amazing journey, and no one should feel like they're going through it alone. And I would really invite you to start becoming an active participant in some of these videos. So please, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, do all of the above so that we can continue to reach out and bring little tiny pieces of joy to more people every week. Thanks again. Have a great, relaxed week, and I'll see you next time.